Yo, 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 what's going on guys? Rhys here from Stoic Pool, and in this video I am joined by some of the founding members of the FreeLoaders group. And in this video we're talking about how it all started, what we do as freeloaders, and where the project's going, some stuff that's going to be happening in the near future, some sneaky little leaks of secret information, and loads more. Okay, it's a really good conversation with some really nice guys. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, right guys, so I'm here with the freeloaders, well, some of the freeloaders community. There's so many of us at this point, but why don't we just start by going around everyone and introduce themselves. I've got James up in the top corner, so James, if you're all right going first, then we'll start with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, James or Blockjack, community manager and part of this great organization that we call FreeLoaders.
Perfect. And then Ryan?
I'm Ryan. I'm from Cardano Stake Pool, just another SPO participating in the FreeLoaders group, and that's about it.
Awesome. And then NV?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Sean. I'm the operator of NV Stake Pool. Also kind of acting as a community manager, also kind of helping maintain the website and helping onboard some new SPOs.
Awesome. And Chris?
Yeah, I'm Chris with Santos Stake Pool. Unfortunately, this was my crazy idea. So now I'm just kind of hanging on to it like a rocket ship. So yeah.
And then George.
Yeah, so I'm George from Apex Stake Pool. I'm doing some Python development stuff for freeloaders and happy to be here.
Perfect. So guys, basically, right, so if anyone else wants to take lead on the story, then they're quite happy to, all right? But from my experience, I joined a space probably 2 months ago when I was having a break from some work and playing Halo, and I joined Santos Space, right? And in Santos Space, everyone was talking about banding together and the Submit API and how it's kind of our duty as stake pool operators to be doing what we can to increase the usability of the network, right? Help facilitate better transaction speeds and times and help just get everything through. And I may just be using the wrong words or misleading by saying that kind of stuff, but that's kind of the way I imagined it when this all started, right? And since then, it has become a fully fledged project. There is so much going on, right? I'm not even going to start talking to it. Santo, if you want to take the lead and talk about how this whole thing came about, then you dive on straight in. Because I don't know you as Chris, I'm just going to call you Santo. So sorry about that. Hope that's all right, mate. But yeah, you kind of got it all started, right? So I feel like you and Ryan should really be taking the lead on this.
Yeah, it was just, Ryan, way back last June, helped me set up my pool. I mean, I was struggling just trying to get it to register and all kinds of things. So Ryan and I go back a ways. But yeah, it just kind of all started, and maybe it's just because of my background in IT and enterprise data services for large corporations. I just saw the whole NAMI debacle where Blockfrost's mempools filled up, and then he's frantically putting out messages on Twitter saying, hey, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I can't do anything about it, right? That's when I realized, well, okay, our biggest DApp wallet is connected to some other service, right? And I just kind of kept digging into it. And then I saw CC Vaults had the exact same thing. They went down for a couple hours during the Sunday launch. And so I went, you got to be kidding me. This is a global network and we don't have failover? What? I don't understand what's happening here, you know? And then I just said, it's just like we have 10,000 relays easily, right? We have 3,000 stake pools. Every stake pool has at least a couple of relays. I mean, I have 6 of them, but I know other stake pool operators that have a whole bunch of them. And I just, why aren't we using the relays? So then, you know, I'm kind of it's just in my nature having a lot of executive experience, I guess. I wanted to take the idea up to IOG first. I said, because I didn't want to like do something like network wide that was like, I don't know, really kind of crazy, right? And so I got a hold of Johnny with IOG, and we discussed it. And he just said, yeah, we've thought about it, but nobody's ever done anything. I just, well, okay, cool, right? So then I saw the submit API actually come in 1.33, right? I saw it. It was just sitting there. It's just sitting in scripts, no documentation, no nothing, whatever. And I started digging around on the forums, and I started, okay, and I started to realize there were stake pool operators using it, right? Or doing transactions on the CLI. Okay, well, that's not for the normal user, right? But if you know how to do it, right? And then I started digging around some more. Okay, yeah, a lot of people have figured out how to open up Daedalus. It's a relay, and I figured out how to, but again, that's not for the lighthearted either, right? I mean, you got to be able to get to the command line and run things, right? And so, I just started talking to Ryan and some of the other stake pools that I knew, and it wasn't that hard. It's just not that hard to do. I mean, it's not documented, and then Ryan and I tested it, and we were seeing 4 or 5 times faster speeds going through the submit API, going through our own relays. And it was like insane. And then I started having other users put in the information. So that's how it started. It just a conversation on Spaces, and then a little bit of homework. So that was the genesis.
A little bit of homework. Yeah, I remember actually, Ryan, you being in the space as well, and you already had tests running. Well, I think you and Santo had set this up already, but I remember that it was already like operational. It was more like you guys running tests, but it was more just about getting more SPOs involved and kind of spreading the word really to form any kind of group. I don't really know what to call FreeLoaders, just a group of SPOs. I'm going to go with group.
Yeah, group's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's just, like you said, people that have joined together in the space and found a way that they could help. So yeah, it started, it was all already running, just like you said, it's in the node software. And there were a couple people who already set it up, and then they saw NAMI at functionality to customize where you're submitting to. And then it just grew naturally from there. We asked people who were in the space to try it out and see if they had better experience, and they did. So it just kept going.
Yeah. So now, how many SPOs are actually operating the Submit API and part of the FreeLoaders group?
I think in total there's over 30 now. Someone might have a more exact number on hand, or I can check it in a minute.
Well, there's 40 on GitHub register.
40 on GitHub. Nice.
40 SPOs. And initially, Santo, you were saying about like 5 times speed for transactions. This is actually when there was a huge amount of congestion on chain as well. And a lot of that we kind of discovered you guys discovered in investigating this kind of stuff was actually more because everyone was using the same APIs and the same nodes to submit transactions, like all the wallets, wasn't it? It wasn't that the blockchain was necessarily slow, but there were a select amount of mempools that were full all the time, and that was causing a lot of congestion, right?
Right. So I think now there's already a lot of distribution. We'll get into it down a little bit later, I suppose. But now we have load balancing. We have a USA load balancer and a Europe load balancer that's basically like routing traffic and round robining to different to the different stake pools on a regular basis. You can actually bring that up live if you wanted to. It's pretty cool to look at because you can see all the stake pools. And you can see how it updates every 60 seconds. So you can see all the transactions going through and being submitted. So, yeah.
Does anyone want to bring that up? Is it just on the website, is it?
Yeah, you just go to the website and just click on the load balancer dashboard.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, go ahead and bring it up. I think it's really cool to see, because it's important, because that's what all the bigger projects are really interested in, right? Because they want to spread their transactions out and have a good experience for their users. I can bring it up. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, and it's a good way to see in real time what's going on too, which is kind of nice. So
can I kind of, like, while you guys are looking that up, just give the analogy that we've, I think PGWAD Stake Pool, PGWAD, when we were first having these discussions, was talking about how this is essentially like if you're at the airport and you're going to the ticketing counter, right? And
there you go.
Like, let's say there's five agents available at the counter, and there's a line of like 10 people only to talk or to buy a ticket from one of those agents. What essentially the load balancer is doing is it's sort of like acting like some airline employee who's kind of saying, hey, there's an open spot over here, go over there. Oh, hey, there's another open line over there, go over there. And it's just sort of redirecting the individuals who are trying to get by their tickets to different lines that are less full. So that's basically what this is doing here.
Yeah, the load balancer, really, isn't it? It's really simple in principle, and it kind of makes sense. Like, it's an obvious need, that if we're going to be kind of funneling so much traffic to SPOs individually, we might as well have a central point that then just distributes it automatically to spread the load. Because where a lot of people have been doing it individually, it's been one or two SPOs supplying a service can get the word out, and then people might use them or might not. But if you have one group as an entity that then are doing the distribution automatically, then it's just that one central hub for users to go to, and all the work's done for them. And that's what creates a much better user experience.
I mean, I'm looking at this, and this is the last 13 hours or so, and we're seeing 300 transactions into each relay in the last 13 hours.
awesome.
Since having this open, you see, I see a lot more abuse of the relay. Like, it's definitely used a lot heavier, and the mempool is always full, and it's always processing more and more transactions. And that's just one relay, that's just literally one relay. So it's really good how, even with the little bit of marketing that I guess mostly James has been responsible for, because he's always in spaces talking about it, and Santo, but just a little bit of marketing has gone such a long way into, you can just see how heavily it's used. It's fantastic.
I always joke, Jim goes into a Twitter space, and then 10 minutes later we get like 15 people that join the Discord. So he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I think people just resonate with what FreeLoaders is doing. And in some cases, I'm able to relate it in a way that is not an SPO or a backend developer, and it's more of an end user. And quite a few people are end users, and they sit on there, and a lot of times don't participate in spaces, but they do listen. And those that they resonate with or vibe with, they tend to follow and or check out what's really going on. And so relating it in a way that, helps them to feel at ease with the information, which is difficult sometimes in crypto. Everybody's very skeptical, and always do your due diligence. But yeah, it just feels really good sometimes to be able to get that done, and people jump on. And then from there, Sean and Ryan can manage them, George and everybody else, depending on your level of experience and what you're doing. So
I think
it's been awesome to see.
Yeah, I think I want to point out one more thing. So you see the 3 red relays that are actually down?
Yeah.
That's actually a good thing, because now if you submit to the load balancer, it will skip over those.
Yeah. Right? Whereas previously, if you had your submit API and people are using it, and that relay's down, then it just does nothing, right? You can't, your transactions will fail.
It won't work.
They'll just fail.
Right.
Which is
great work, by the way, Ryan. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It is great. It's really nice to have a visualization of it, because before we kind of know what's happening, but to be able to actually show people the work like this goes a long way.
And
I'm sure Ryan will say it's not. He's configuring and he's running the load balancers, but the HA proxy software is actually an industry standard. And it's used by some of the biggest, websites in the world, whatever, Yahoo and Google and everybody else, to balance their loads, right, during high traffic. So this is really robust, really industry standard, open source, and used worldwide.
Wow, I had no idea about that. So we've kind of covered what the load balancer is. We've seen how it works and what FreeLoaders is doing as just with this submit API. But what else is actually going on with FreeLoaders at the minute? What else have you got in the works? What other projects are coming along? Like, what's next?
Well, we've got a few things. One is we've been working with Torben, who came on, and he's been a godsend. Having a Plutus and Haskell backend developer has been awesome. And he comes from Artifact. Artifact, of course, is going to be putting out their own NFT platform, but is also the principal behind the Moon metaverse, which is going to be launching as well. So we're excited for that. Torben's been a great addition. So is Maverick, our front end UI UX guy, along with Miguel. And God, I don't want to miss anybody. There's a couple of people that have jumped on board and become a part of this in a way. And of course, none of us are getting paid for this. So, this is all free, using their time freely to give to the community, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, Rhys, can you bring up the FreeLoaders Discord? I mean, it just went through 300 users and you can get a feel for what's going on in there. You don't have to look at everything, but, there's just lots of activity around the development teams.
Yeah, let me just switch the old screen over. I don't want to display any hidden any private information here.
No, I'm not worried about that.
We don't have too much private information, do we?
Yeah, we don't look at it that way either.
Any secret discussions, guys, behind closed doors,
right.
FreeLoaders.
It depends on the project. That's the thing. If the project isn't interested yet, while we're in development of that, and we're just in beginning discussions, of course, then we're waiting on them to come out with with what they're doing. We have Frosty with the Neta BTC, which has been the first person that I think that was in Spaces, and we had a discussion surrounding what they were doing, and he was very interested in the load balancer and the SPO network.
Yeah, so just go to reward distribution project and you'll see what the development team's working on in the background. Obviously you're not going to be able to read all this, but there's just a lot of activity with a lot of different people, and that's really cool. I mean, and it's all volunteer, right? I mean, it's all just people that want to help, and I think that spirit it's blown me away. I don't even. Wow, all I'm doing is a cheerleader now. Just go work on stuff. In fact, one of the things that I have to say all the time is you don't have to ask me for permission. Just do it.
That's right.
That's one of those I'm asking you. Whenever I've got an idea, right, I'm always like, Santo, what do you think about this? Like, is that all right?
No.
Every time you're just like, well, it's not up to me, is it? It's up to you lot. So just get on with it.
Yeah. The only one that needs permission is me, because we have to have discussions here and there on what I can and can't say, and what I shouldn't be saying in Spaces sometimes. So that's about it. So I'm the one that needs to be reined in. Everybody else, you got carte blanche. So the other person I wanted to mention was Swift Crypto. He's also jumped on board and is a part of that mural board that we're doing for the platform that's being built. And we can't talk about exactly what Frosty's doing with the Neta BTC yet, because that project actually isn't live, but he's very close to being so. And man, that guy gets you fired up. If anybody hasn't been in a space with Frosty and where he's actually got his audio on and he's talking, I love that guy. So he gets me fired up, which I absolutely love. So everyone around me just makes me a better person. I absolutely love that. So, but yeah, can't forget about Swift Crypto.
Actually, the amount of support and the amount of people who have kind of stepped up to get involved with this has been a little bit amazing and quite very inspiring, actually, because like every time I go into that Discord, there's new people there's involved, like already working on stuff, already building things, like no one's waiting. And that kind of environment's really powerful, I think. It's really amazing to see. And actually, guys, I'll share a link to the Discord just down below. So if you're interested in finding out more or kind of joining the FreeLoaders community, then go and check it out. Right. So next, there has been talk. So what's coming next for FreeLoaders, at some point, there needs to be some element of management to this community, right? And so we're starting to see the natural progression from a bunch of people in a chat room kind of progressing into a DAO. That's right, isn't it? So does anyone want to talk a little bit about how that's working, about any more information that you want to share about the FreeLoaders DAO?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'll do it. Yeah. I mean, you said it perfect, Rhys. I mean, it's at some point, you know, if we're going to be that involved in the network, we have to have a way to make decisions, right? You know, do we do a catalyst proposal? Do we buy some hardware to help with the load balancers? Do we, you know, figure out a way to provide some incentives for developers? You know, I mean, it's one thing, I mean, to be a volunteer, but still, if you're going to dedicate, you know, significant part of your time, I mean, you want to have some sort of, you know, incentive and compensation and all that. So
you need to really, don't you?
Yeah, especially if it's going to be long term, right? And it's going to be, and we're going to have big projects, stand on it and be committed to it. That's
right.
Becomes
are we
really
going to be around for forever or we're not? You know, so yeah, what are we thinking about long term? Absolutely.
So both Jim and I had been spending a lot of time in the ADAO Discord and talking to the people in the community about ADAO and so I mean, so where we're at today is, you know, I mean, that's a big discussion, right? I mean, talking about decentralized autonomous organizations. I have conversations with my family and my wife. What do you mean autonomous? Decentralized? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
TCT and Riley have been extraordinarily helpful in that regard.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're basically adopting their template. We've had some discussions internally about our tokenomics, and we've done. We've set up a core team, you know, a core members team. We've done our first 15 tokens. But basically it's a governance token, you know, so that you can vote with it, right? So the vision is that we put proposals on the table and then you take it to a vote and you do a quorum, and, you know, we got 15, long as the core members say yay, then, you know, it happens. And so, but we're also going to do some other things to help provide some incentives for developers or contributors or marketing or anything, right? To be able to distribute tokens. We did decide on, what is it, Jim, 500 million tokens? So
500 million.
Yeah, we have a tokenomics chart. We've shared it internally yet. We're probably really close to sharing it with the public. You know, everybody seems to be on board with it. So I spent the weekend actually diving into setting up a Wyoming-based LLC, actually a DAO LLC, and I'm working through all the paperwork there so that, I mean, I personally need it. I need protection. I can't have anything go crazy on me here at FreeLoaders. And, you know, when we start dealing with money, right? Or value, whatever, you know, I mean, securities and all that nonsense. I don't know what it's like over in Europe, but in the States, you know, everybody's, you know, it's just because our legislation, we're just too slow. We don't know what the hell we're doing here. And so
there's no guidelines yet.
Yeah. So
there's no guidelines really anywhere. That's the thing, right? And I think you need to make sure you protect yourself ultimately, you know, and it's very easy for a community just to do stuff together. So
that's also just been posted in our Discord. Also, anybody can go there. I just posted a channel called DAO LLC, and you can see all my research, all the case law, basically the Wyoming statutes that went into place to support a DAO. And so the paperwork was relatively easy. It's only 4 pages. Filled it out. Just, you know, we're a member-based DAO, decentralized organization. Everything's, and then so it's that simple. And once we get that going and get that, then I think we'll be good to go with a token.
Yeah. Hats off to the Wyoming legislators for putting that together. I know Caitlin Long, she has been a principal as far as driving that narrative with the legislators, and of course Charles as well. So hats off to those guys for making this to where the wording is very good, very easy, very simple, and like Santos said, they've made it very easy for somebody to jump on board and do what they need to do to protect themselves.
Yeah, it's important to get the ball moving on that, because before you know it, it'll be too late. And once the precedence is set, then it's very hard to change.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Basically, my lawyer just said, What are you doing, Chris? What are you doing? And so he just, and it's good for everybody in freeloaders, right? You don't want to be connected to something that has any attachments to your personal assets. So the only asset will probably be the Treasury wallet that's holding things for doing activities. So even worst case, right? The SEC starts calling freeloaders a security, which a little bit bonkers, but even worst case, right? The only thing that could be seized would be the Treasury wallet.
Yeah. So
right, and the idea behind that also is the governance token obviously is just meant to be a governance token. In no way does it have a value now, nor is it intended to have value in the future. The value is being a part of something much larger than yourself in order to be able to, in essence, the 15 members are like a steering committee of sorts. Consider it similar to IOG and what they've done with Cardano. They are a steering committee, which at some point will allow the bird to leave the nest. And that's Voltaire, of course, for IOG. Freeloaders will be the same thing. We will go into that same realm as well and allow the freeloaders community to be running this and steering the ship at some point. So,
yeah, I think it's really important to set that precedence on value as well, because the token isn't, it's not for anything other than governing. It's a voting token, and that's literally it. And that's the whole, once you start deviating from that, that's when you start entering very interesting realms that we ultimately want to stay out of, because we don't want it to be associated with any kind of purchasing power at all. And that's quite important, I think, for governance. So what else, guys? What else have you got cooking? Because freeloaders, from this Submit API, this has become the start of a very kind of widespread community-driven project, right? And it's not just the Submit API kind of load balancer that we've been going for now, is it? It's starting to deviate and it's starting to involve other projects and kind of explore other avenues of services that we can provide to the community. So does anyone want to talk about that? Do you have anything that you want to, any secrets that you want to let out?
Well,
I don't think it's
go ahead, Santa.
Oh, I don't think it's any secret. I mean,
there's no secrets. Yeah.
There's all we've done is said, hey, stake pools, use your relays to help the network, right? To help the community. So there's lots of things that the relays can do. I mean, my 6 relays are really powerful. I mean, I got 32 gig RAM and I got, 8 cores on all of them, and they're all over the world. And I could do all kinds of things, right? I could run DB sync on a couple of them. I could open up queries to the chain. I could do all kinds of things. And I think that's really the future of freeloaders, not so much free anymore, but, stake pool operators offering additional services to the community. Any Oracle could hit a load balanced group of relays who want to participate and want to get together and do something. That's all. It's just distributing relay service on the input side, right? On the query side. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I think Ryan could actually speak to that a little bit, having to do with the discussion that we have with Benjamin from M Labs, and him and Benjamin and Ryan hit it off pretty well during our discussion. And maybe you could speak a little bit to that, Ryan, just a little snippet of what we talked about with that.
That goes right along the line of what Chris was talking about just a second ago, is opening up, extra APIs like a query layer. So these projects that are doing drops and need information from the chain about, incoming transactions that have been paid, or certain holders of a specific asset, or whatever it may be, just bringing extra services, extra APIs, things, different ways to access the chain, and the different protocols that the nodes can run. So
the part that I find fascinating is how a lot of these projects, I shouldn't call it fascinating. I've raised venture capital. I know why. They don't want to open source it. They want to keep it, protected, their intellectual property. But what the hell? The whole chain is open source, right? And I don't know. I mean, I think if there's anything that we have a challenge of going forward, it's the fact that we got free in our name. And right.
Well, and it's created some issue there, and it makes sense, Rhys. If you're a group and you've done a lot of work and created a platform that in a lot of cases has created a great deal of utility for Cardano. I picked up my liquid token off of Drip Drops. So grateful that they had it there, and I was able to go on and pick up that token along with a bunch of meme tokens as well. I got to click off a bunch of different ones, and now I'm a Shiba millionaire and a Shiba Inu millionaire and things of that. A Husky token millionaire. Don't want to forget Husky and what have you, and which has been great because the prior process to that was getting a token in a completely different manner. And actually, sorry, I need to edit that. It was not the liquid token that I got. The liquid token came via Discord. The Sunday Swap token is the one I picked up just recently. So I love using that service. It's created a great deal of utility surrounding it. And I'm grateful that those guys got that together, Andrew and everybody there making that happen. So, for us, it's been great to have that. However, should there be a fence around it? I don't think so. And everybody knows that too. Obviously, it's open source. Other people know this as well, having to do with that particular platform and what George built. There are others working to that end as well in order to create more utility for Cardano, which is what we need. If we all just focus a little bit more on, coming out with a project and then putting it on GitHub and open sourcing it for others to look at what's been done and iterate on that, we become better as a community, as a blockchain.
So, sorry, James, you just mentioned that George had been working on something. George, do you want to actually tell us what you've been working on?
Yes. So I've been working on a small platform of distributing tokens by someone who wants to distribute tokens. For example, an SPO offering extra tokens for his delegators. And we have many cases like that. So I virtually know a few SPOs who are offering extra tokens, and they are building manually transactions to distribute them every month or so. And it's taking a lot of work to do that, and or sending them individually, so paying a lot of transaction fees and doing a lot of manual work. So I built a script in Python that is combining all those transactions. So it's taking a CSV file exported from Excel with a list of addresses and amount of tokens you want to send to each of them, and creating analyzing all of that, computing how many transactions are required to optimize everything, and then building the transactions and submitting them using a Submit API. And well, it's working actually very well. So it's sending batches of 120 transactions, so 120 destination addresses in one transaction. That can also be configured, and it's working very well actually. And I made this also open source on GitHub.
George has been extremely humble. It's a brilliant piece of code.
I know he is. I wanted him to bloody show off what he's been working on.
Well, actually, we do have a video on our website. We have a video of it that we produced. We have some of the team members are really good with doing promotional videos. And you can look at it anytime you want. All I got to do is go to freeloaders.io and go to the services page. Yeah. And you'll see.
I'll link the video below as well, guys. So you can go and check that out because it really is. It is really awesome. It's really awesome that it's happening, right? And it's
not naming any names, but there was a few people that really weren't happy that we actually put that video in the front, right? They go, where do you want to put the video? Like right in the front, on the front page. Make sure nobody misses it. It's very short but sweet, and not everybody enjoyed that video. Most did, some didn't.
Yes, and I want to add something. So because we are collaborating with different projects, someone said, well, it would be very good if this would have an API to integrate it easier in what we are building. So I also built an API for this script. So now there's also an API interface you can use to do these airdrops.
George, we gotta get you paid, mate.
That's alpha. That's alpha drop, by the way, right there, because I don't think Jim and I even.
We haven't talked about it. No. No. Well, I knew about it. I have been a lot better at.
No, I haven't heard the word API yet. So, yeah, we're going to have to figure out what that means, George, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yes. And
I was trying not to say it.
Another thing that required during integrating that would be a Cardano token registry. It's on GitHub. So every token on Cardano can be registered there to have a logo and a number of decimals for it. And one developer I talked to, a front-end developer, said, well, I would need an API to integrate the token registry also, because it seems there is one provided by IOG or Cardano Foundation, I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to be working. So I need only some small information about every token. And I also built, actually this weekend, an API for that and made it public on GitHub, second project made open source related to what we are building.
Santo, you're right. It just occurred to me sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's the power of community, right? It's just that simple, right? And I love to see it. And of course, George has figured out he can do whatever he wants. Do it. Just make it happen, right? And so, I think our next big phase is the governance part, right? Because right now we're kind of it is a little bit chaotic in Discord right now. I'll admit that. I'm not used to that. Being a kind of a corporate executive, I'm not used to so much chaos. But that's the way it's going to go, right? It's going to be organic. It's going to grow. Groups are going to grow, and then groups are going to die on the vine, right? I mean, whatever. That's all that's natural order, right? And so I love to see that. I love to see all the teams getting together on their own and just continuing to build things out. I think that's really going to be the mission of FreeLoaders.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it's nice to just see everyone just run with it, right? We've all got permission to do stuff, so just go and see what happens. Envy, you were about to say something, mate, but we were all so excited. I think we all cut you off.
No worries. I was excited too. I was just wondering how George sleeps. I mean, I feel like I message him all the time asking him questions, and it's usually spread across a 24-hour day. So I don't know how much sleep he gets in it. I was just curious.
I think he's one of three. I think there's three of him, and they all do 8-hour shifts.
That makes, you know what, that makes sense now. Now I get it. Now I understand how he does it. So yeah, he's working on a 24-hour timeline, but he's got 3 of them. So he can consistently work the entire time. Very nice, George. Hey, I wanted to mention also, there's a guy with ARARE Pool. He's been instrumental as far as he created that actual video and put together the nice little music that sat behind that video, which was really, really cool. Joker, he has been my right-hand man as far as promotion goes. I can mention Ben. He's not actually part of the core member, but he walks or cruises around spaces with the FreeLoaders logo everywhere we go. I love that when we're all 3 in the space together. It's quite funny. It's almost like we're trying to take something over. It's really interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see one day where we have 15 members in there at one time. It would be great. And then we've got Rich with EarnCoin as well. He is super busy right now, but he was one of the principal members in the beginning that helped us get this bad boy off the ground. So I'd be amiss if I did not mention him as well.
Yeah, the 6 people here really doesn't represent the group, at this point.
It does not. Yeah, I can go on, of course, but yeah.
So we've talked about quite a lot of stuff, right, guys? But we've talked a lot about contributing for free. But at some point, there's stuff that we need to be able to push the needle forward and provide a better service at scale. Yeah. So what is the next step in terms of what do we need to provide freeloaders with? Like, how can we feed the beast to make it a more powerful tool? How can we help it provide a better service? Like, what do we need to provide to?
Well, I think there's a couple of different things for me, and I think everybody has a different view of that. But for me, we just need to keep adding pools and relays, right? So if you're a stake pool operator out there, go to freeloaders.io, freeloaders with a Z, right? .io, get into the Discord, learn how to set up your relay to do a submit API. It's not that hard, but there's lots of people in Discord who can help you get that set up.
Yep.
Register your submit API on our GitHub registry for submit APIs. Get added to the load balancers. To me, that's like, we got to get to that first, right? Because that's clearly the value to being able to distribute submissions. That's what I would say, is that we got to keep growing the coalition.
Can I say something
that is
to that really
Project
quick?
One. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
I think I've heard from a few people, there's a little bit of a intimidation factor too, installing this new program on your relay node, because maybe you're not the most technically proficient. But I think I kind of fall into that category. I don't quite have the technical proficiency that Ryan, Santo, or George probably have. So there's no probably, that's a definitely. But but I was able to install this, and I've had tons and tons and tons of one-on-one DM conversations with people. I spent an hour and a half with somebody yesterday trying to figure out why their Cardano Submit API wasn't installing properly. And, we got to the root of it. And so there are plenty of people in the space that are happy to work with you if you're like a newer SPO or not super technically proficient. I promise you we'll work through it together. And again, if you want to help build, Torben's been pretty vocal about jump in, we'll work with you, no matter what your skill set is, you can play a role here. So it's a super, super open community. It's very welcoming. And I think that's one of the, like Santo said, that's like the heart of what this community is all about and one of the best aspects of it. So.
Yeah, I second that in what Sean is saying. Fatty's been a big deal on that. He's been answering a lot of questions when George is not. George, I don't know how he's writing all this code and answering questions all at the same time, but he's been doing a lot of that, especially in the developer section. But he's constantly on there and working to help people. And I think that's what drives all of us here, is that we're not in it for ourselves. This is a much big picture project, and we are meant to be together for a reason. And I think that is yet to be fully realized and understood. But at the same time, we do it without thought of anything coming back to us. And that ultimately should be the goal of every Cardanian when you think about it. The beauty of it is, though, is that with the DAO and the setup and the incentivization that we're going to be doing for any Discord member. So if you are to get onto Discord, register, we'd like you to be participating in every way, shape, and form, helping, learning, promoting outside on Twitter and things of that nature. And from that, there will be an airdrop that will be going out to every single Discord member, which also includes down the road an airdrop towards Cardano members as a whole. And we're going to work that out as a group and vote on all of that as we go forward. But that has been allotted in the tokenomics, which we're going to firm it all up on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. But it's going to give us quite a bit of leeway in order to be able to ensure that those members who are really doing the hard work and putting effort in, and that means from just making a tweet and sharing an invite to the Discord to writing some code for the CLI that George wrote, or for what Torben's doing, having to do with the platform that he's building along with Miguel and Maverick and George and everybody. So there are so many different levels to that. But the important part is that you get involved in some way, shape, or form, and every level of ability is welcome.
One thing I do want to say to every stake pool operator out there is, I know I've picked up delegators because of this effort. So, we're stake pools, and, we need stake. We need delegates. That's how we get our rewards. So I'm pretty confident that if we continue down this path and being, offering something really valuable to the community, that will attract delegates. And whether they stake to Panel or Envy or Apex or Santo or Stoic, doesn't really matter. Take your pick. But at least the delegate knows that we're all active, we're all involved, we're all doing things, to help the whole community. And that's something that I'm pretty passionate about. I mean, I've done pretty well in my life financially. This is sort of my retirement playground, but to be able to bring us all together instead of being divided, right? Because if we're divided, we fall. United, we stand. And so that's something that, really gets me in my heart. I can feel it right now, right? I mean, it's like that's what's needed for Cardano, because we're not number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. We're still, I go out into the other communities, and I was just talking to a Miami crypto lawyer the other day, and he's like, what are you on Cardano? Why aren't you on Ethereum? And I'm like, okay, that's a different conversation, but we'll talk about that later. Right. So, we really need that right now. Right. We need to come together and not be divided. So,
yeah. And considering what's going on with the parameter changes and things of that nature, I think everybody can see the writing on the wall as to what IOG, where they're going and what they're doing with it, just simply with the K parameter change. And it's not to say that those parameter changes aren't going to happen in the future. These are going to be slow moves, just like they're doing everything else with block size, script, the amount of script to be allowed into the block and things of that nature, reference scripts and things like that. These are all slow changes that are going to happen over time. So what's happening is my take is on it with these new parameter changes and going forward, quality over quantity. What does that mean for SPOs? When I have Frosty in the back of my mind, man, he gets me fired up because it's a bit of a fight. We're in a fight here as SPOs. I'm not an SPO. And people ask me why is it that you feel so passionate about the SPOs? Well, it's because they are the lifeblood of Cardano. And every one of them is key to my success as a delegator. I do not want the top 21 pools dictating where my ADA is going and how it's being spent in the future when we get to Voltaire. That is not what I want. And I am fully invested in this community, and I've spoke on that a little bit. I won't hear, but it's imperative that the SPOs get together now not wait, not be apathetic about what's going on. Just look at what's happened so far and read the writing on the wall. You are important. You're important to us. You're especially important to me. And I will fight to the bitter end to ensure that you exist in this community at whatever level you want to participate at. It's super important.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerful words there, Blockjock. I was going to ask you when's Jock Pool coming along, but I'm going to refrain from that now. You can just delegate to us lot instead. That's
right. Yeah, no pool for me. I can say now and into the future. Me and Santo had that discussion. I don't think that's happening. And the rewards on the delegator side going to these SPOs. You guys work really hard in order to put this all together. And it's important that these new projects that come along, they will be helping you out as well. Your rewards that you're going to be getting from other ISOs and things of that nature, all of that is still available to you. Anything that comes along, Freeloaders does not keep you from any of that. We just add quality to your pool, create utility that you otherwise would not have, and create partnerships that otherwise you would have never been able to have. So these relationships that we're building with like-minded people that are in and developing projects, whether they're the founder, the co-creator, or the CTO, all the way down to the devs, those projects want us to succeed. And they want you guys, the SPOs, to be a part of that. And they will do everything in their power to ensure that that happens. It is a fight in that regard. And there are developers that don't speak on it out loud. I'll speak for them, that feel the same way that you do. And they've got your back. They just can't do it publicly. That's all.
Yeah, there are a lot of SPOs in the same light as well. There are a lot of SPOs who prefer to keep their mouth shut, and that's completely understandable.
Sure, yeah,
absolutely. So the next thing that I really want to talk about, me being biased towards Catalyst, is what we can do to help facilitate faster or more dedicated work on Freeloaders. So because this is a community-driven and optional contribution from the community and stake pool operators, for me, I think Catalyst is the best opportunity for people to get paid for the work they're doing. Like poor old George, he's going to actually lose his fingers at some point because they're going to turn into bloody little stumps. And I kind of want him to have some cash before that happens, because I think him and it's not just you, George, although I do think you've done a lot. It's not just Ryan, it's not just Santo, it's not just Envy, or even you, Blockjock. There might be something in there for you for shilling. For us to expand properly, we're going to need some form, and I don't know what that is, but whether it's some form of infrastructure, some form of cash flow, or just some form of like small treasury, not in terms of DAO governance tokens or anything, but stuff that we can actually use to help just reimburse people for their time and for their effort. And I know I personally haven't been the most active. I know a lot of you guys actually have, and I know what it takes to work and really kind of put your life into something. And I think it's important that people get paid for that kind of stuff, even if it's only small, even if it's only a little bit of a contribution, or even if we prioritize stuff for things like infrastructure rather than time, or work. I feel like that's the next step from my perspective. What do you guys think about that? What do we need? What could we be working towards? What does that look like?
Oh, no, buddy, you're in charge, man. We're all following you.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Rhys is the lead. I know Santo's been involved in that. I know I'm passionate about it. I know Joker is he's going to be watching this right now, raising his hand. I know. And things of that nature. And then Marta, of course, which I absolutely love in Santo's space, that comes on. She's very passionate about Catalyst as well. Lido is also part of our board, our 15-member core member and group, and he ridiculously passionate about it as well. But yeah, man, we're stoked to have you as the lead in that project and being the principal writer of those catalyst proposals. And it's cool to see others jump on. I seen Quasar jump onto the Discord the other day. I'm going to put him out there, but thanks, man, for that and being a part of that and helping us kind of, sharpen the knife a little bit, the tip of the knife there, as far as how to get our proposals seen and voted on. So
yeah, Rhys, you just got some alpha there, right there. You're doing it, buddy. We're relying on you.
All right. Well, I'll pull my finger out and I'll get it done then, right? So what do you need? What do you guys need, Brian? Well, how can we figure out a way to facilitate your role here? George, how can we support you better? Envy, what do we need to do to get you working? Like, what do we need to do to get you reimbursed for work that you've been doing? Like, what does that look like, guys? What do we need to do?
I think we're still really early.
Nobody speak at once.
Yeah, I think we're still really early on all the catalyst stuff. Like, we just started talking about it, right? So I think step one is probably clearly define those costs and those needs that you're talking about. Like what does it cost to run this infrastructure? Maybe outside of the submit APIs, because that's already included from the SPOs, right? But what is the cost of the time George has put into all these scripts? What is the cost of running more load balancers in different regions and so on from there? So I think that's where we start.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I know that we have a really talented team. There are a lot of people developing right now. I can't imagine the amount of time that takes. So if there are resources, like you said earlier, Rhys, to just kind of help support those guys and those efforts. And, especially if this starts taking off and we have to onboard, hundreds or, I don't know, maybe 1,000, couple thousand SPOs into a community like this. Yeah, that would probably take a lot of time and resources to direct people, educate them. Like Ryan said, spin up, possibly more load balancers, people building front end, back end. So just lots of time there, lots of time.
Okay, absolutely. And to be honest, I feel like just from turning up in the Discord every now and then, I feel like we're already at that point where we're hitting kind of as much as we can all reasonably do, because the next steps are quite big and there's quite a lot of work and time and effort involved in that. And I think that's kind of the next stage for us to really expand.
I think it's important. I think it's important to just take it in steps, right? Don't have to do everything all at once. Just get a couple of our early needs. Like for me, I think I think having redundant load balancers becomes really important, right? What happens if Ryan gets hit by a truck or something, and then, we need a duplicate set of load balancers, maybe in another part of the country, in another facility, just whatever, run in the background, or you guys can figure out how you want to do that, failover logic, whatever. Actually, I don't even know. I mean, I think Ryan's just running the load balancers on gear he's already got. But a couple of relay servers, maybe even just, I don't know. We need to talk about that, right? I mean, $500 for each one. I mean, that would be nice, probably, so that we have some infrastructure bills that we can cover. And then as far as programming time, I mean, George's script, geez, what's it worth? I don't know.
A lot of work.
$5,000.
I don't know. The thing is, it doesn't like that. They're both very reasonable kind of sums. It's not like we'd be asking for hundreds of thousands or anything like that. It's just enough to cover costs to make it worth people's time, right? Because
and then having startup experience in my own career, really the bulk of the cost is going to be in marketing. Sorry, a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
More of these videos, more people out talking about it. More. We're only at 40 stake pools. Okay, there's 3,000 of them. All right. Yeah. So set a goal to get to like 200. How much marketing would we need to do to get 200 onboarded and trained and educated? And I don't know, 10 grand at least, right?
Maybe a little FreeLoaderz specific documentation for the Submit API? Because I know there's stuff about, and there's lots of people sharing stuff in the Discord. But if we just had one page,
we need a real website. I mean, geez, I just banged it together in Squarespace. I mean, come on. Okay, so I mean, I know how much it costs to make a real website. I mean, it's not cheap. It's hard. It takes a lot of work to get it really, really sharp looking, right?
And there are plenty of SBOs who are willing to volunteer their time. If we can figure out what would be reasonable with them to provide some funding for them, then Absolutely. It just helps make the process a lot easier, right?
Absolutely. And at the same time, we're helping all the SBOs go. There's so many talented people in a variety of different fields that are SBOs. Every time I meet another one, I'm like, wow, I can't believe, how much background knowledge they have and what they're doing. And a lot of times, they've chosen to do the SBO role just simply because it's something that they love to do and they believe in Cardano. And in some cases, it's why they're hanging on, even if they're not minting a block or generating any fees. Doesn't matter to them. They're still there. And that's one of the SBOs that I would love to reach, are those who are not apathetic, but just set in their ways, and they're going to be a part of this no matter what, and not give up. And I would say to them, come check out freeloaders.io in the Discord, and poke around a little bit in the Discord and talk to a few of your fellow SBOs and see if what you're thinking isn't what they're thinking, and where the future is for Cardano. So
perfect. Right, guys, I kind of want to be a bit aware of your time and how much time we've taken already. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned that I should have brought up, or that anyone wanted to cover quickly before we call it?
I think that we have quite a few people that are on the fence as to what freeloaders means, and having free in the name. As a matter of fact, me and Santo went back and forth on the token name, and I personally wanted free as the token descript. When you look at it, and we went with FLZ, and that's fine. But ultimately, the idea is that this society was meant to be, and hopefully will be in the future, a free society that can live and do things as we want to do, which is the idea behind why Charles started it to begin with. So why is it that we would want to, put anything around it and keep people from it? Makes no sense whatsoever. Instead, allow it to be open source. If you open source it, and this goes to every single developer that's out there, yes, your time is worth money. Yes, your effort is important to Cardano. But if you just keep yourself in a small little group and don't allow yourself to be exposed to the whole of Cardano, you are doing yourself a disservice. And the reward that comes from that is exponentially larger than what you are receiving in this small little snippet of time that you develop this platform that nobody else has yet. I contend that we all think the same way surrounding that. It's just important to remember that the bigger picture is we want to help every single person that is part of Cardano, and not just now, but into the future. So think about that a little bit as you're working on your projects and doing the things that you're doing, and try to ensure that decentralization is at the top of the list when you're making decisions on what can and cannot be open sourced.
Awesome. Right. Well, anything else, guys? Or we're just going to call it there, I think, because Blockchop just mic dropped us out of the entire call.
Yeah, I was going to say mic drop. I guess the last thing is just, in case it hasn't been said enough, check out freeloaders.io. We have the video, we have some graphics. You can see our Discord link there. So just check out the website. And we'll hopefully chat with some more people later today or after this video is released.
Right, guys, that's it for this video. Don't forget to go and check out FreeLoaders. I'm going to have links to everything from joining up and becoming a member to getting involved on their Discord or just talking with some of the guys and kind of using the services that we're providing. All that information is going to be in the boxes below. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me or join the Discord and ask away in the community. If you're an SPO, sign up. set up your submit API and then create a pull request for the FreeLoaders GitHub so you can get involved as soon as and join the team. Otherwise, guys, that's it for this video. Keep an eye out for our catalyst proposals. Leave any questions or comments you got in the box below. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll catch up with you in the next one. See you then.